Hello students, today I am going to explain the same topic, climate of India for class 10. I've already began with this climate of India, explaining you all the elements which are essential in bringing change in the climatic condition in the continent of subcontinent India. Okay, today we are going to learn more about or the climatic conditions, how they prevail in India with reference to the physical divisions. Already I have explained physical divisions of India in the last class. So now India has tropical monsoon type of climate, right? Now why it is called tropical monsoon? We have already seen tropical monsoon because Tropic of Cancer passes through India, dividing into two climatic condition zones. Like above Tropic of Cancer we have subtropical type of climate, and below Tropic of Cancer we have tropical type of climate, correct? Now today we are going to see, and monsoon winds play very important role in bringing the monsoon season in India with lot of rainfall. That is the reason why it is called India has tropical monsoon type of climate. Now today I am going to explain the factors which affect climate of India. Which are the factors which influences change in the climatic condition within the particular season, like summer season or in the winter season. The first factor which affects climate of India is the Himalayas. Okay, first is the Himalayas. Now we are going to see how these Himalayas change the climatic condition in India. We have already seen, right, Himalayas extending from northwest region towards the northeast region of India. Now Himalayas being very tall mountain range, okay, where we have the highest mountain peaks also located within this particular mountain wall. They act as an effective barrier for the cold winds which enter into Indian subcontinent during the winter season coming from the frigid zone or from the Siberian plains. They block these cold winds and they save us, our country India, it saves us from the severe effect of the very cold climate or from the cold winds, and it saves especially the northern plains of India or place like Delhi. In the extreme winter season there is never going to be a snowfall, so they save us from the severity of the cold winds. And also Himalayas act as a barrier for the monsoon winds. When monsoon winds start blowing from the Indian subcontinent, from the southwest region, or when they hit the western margin of India, when they cross the southern part and they move into the northern part of India with the moisture laden winds, okay, these Himalayas block this southwest monsoon, checking these winds going out from India. If there were no Himalayas, India would have turned during the winter season into the cold desert, and during the summer season, during the rainfall time, we wouldn't receive any amount of rainfall into this particular region. Okay, now towards the southern part of Himalayas, we have more of rainfall into the northern plains. As we go higher and descend downwards towards the northern slopes of Himalayas, it turns into a completely dry region here, Tibetan Plateau. It's a complete dry region. This is how Himalayas play very important role in deciding the climatic conditions in India. This is the first factor. The second important factor which again plays very important role is the monsoon winds. Okay, monsoon winds. Now monsoon winds play a very important role because they dictate the climate of India. How? When monsoon winds start blowing from the Indian Ocean or from the Arabian Sea or from Bay of Bengal, from the southern direction, they are divided, monsoon winds are divided in India into two parts, southwest monsoon and northeast monsoons. Okay, now there is complete reversal of this monsoon over here in India. Okay, and because of this reverse conditions, when southwest monsoon winds blow from Indian subcontinent from this direction, right, they come from sea to the land. Okay, and why they blow from sea to the land? Because during the summer season, land as well as water bodies get intensely heated up. Now because of this heating up, there is over the land, especially into central part of Asia or into the northern part of India, there is extreme low pressure developed here because temperature increases, and since sun shines on Tropic of Cancer, or we get vertical rays of the sun here in the summer season. Now the reverse condition happens towards the southern side. There is a winter season, so into Indian Ocean or near Australia, there is strong high pressure developed. Now we all know wind moves from high pressure to low pressure area. So this wind start blowing by the beginning of June, first week of June. They are called south. Since they move from southwest direction from Indian Ocean or from Arabian Sea, from Bay of Bengal, they are called southwest monsoon winds. They blow from the month of June to September, giving heavy rainfall to the Indian subcontinent, because they come from the sea, they capture a lot of moisture in the form of clouds on the way, and they distribute it overall within Indian subcontinent. Okay. This is how we get enough rainfall by the monsoon winds. That's why monsoon winds are very important. In the winter season, reverse condition takes place. Now, sun shines over Tropic of Capricorn. There is summer season down into the southern hemisphere, right? Because of that, there is low pressure area created towards down or within Indian Ocean. And since we have winter season here, correct, there is high pressure developed over Central Asia or into the northern part of India. So obviously winds will blow. As we begin with the winter season, winds will blow from high pressure to low pressure. They proceed from land to sea during winter season, and they are, since they blow from northeast direction, they are called northeast monsoon. Again, these winds bring lot of rainfall, especially in the eastern coast of India, like Tamil Nadu receives rain only in the winter season. Okay, so this is how monsoon winds play very important role deciding the climate of India. This is the second factor. The third factor which plays very important role is the latitude. Now, what latitude has to do with it? I have already discussed that which is the important latitude which passes through India is the Tropic of Cancer, right through the center of India, almost. Okay, dividing India, northern part of India is having subtropical type of climate, although it is under the temperate zone, correct? And below Tropic of Cancer, we have tropical type of climate. Now, how this latitude is influencing the climate, correct? Now, we all know that for the sun to come on overhead or to give vertical rays of the sun, Tropic of Cancer is the last limit in the northern hemisphere. So places which are above Tropic of Cancer will never receive vertical rays of the sun. Is it clear? Now, in the summer season, India gets intensely heated up overall when we receive vertical rays of the sun, correct? So whichever places are above Tropic of Cancer, they will never get vertical rays of the sun. Okay, so although we have the influence of the Himalayas, although we have the influence of the monsoon winds, there is variation in the temperature also. For example, places like Punjab, Delhi will have a wide range, annual range of temperature, because there is no influence of the sea. Towards the south, towards the southern part of or below Tropic of Cancer, what happens here? We are more closer to the equator, because last latitude for India is 8 degrees north. So we are closer to the equatorial region, or we have the strong influence of the hot zone also. But still, the climate during the summer season temperature does not rise like we have in Rajasthan 48, it reaches 50 degrees Celsius. Now this is because towards the south, India is called peninsula. What is the meaning of peninsula? We have all three sides surrounded by water bodies like Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and extending towards the southern tip is Indian Ocean. So because of the influence of the sea, the climate here is totally different. Summers are not very extremely hot, neither the winters are too cold. So we have something, especially along the coastal region, climate remains moderate. This is how latitude also plays a very important role. This is the third factor. The fourth factor, what we are going to see which affects the climate of India is the relief features. Relief features. Now, what do you mean by relief? Relief is nothing but it's the topography of our country. Right? Topography is the type of landform. I have already discussed that we have great huge mountain wall Himalayas. We have Western Ghats here towards the western coast. We have Eastern Ghats towards the eastern coast of India. We have in between Aravalli range. We have northeast hills like here Garo, Kasi and Jaintia hills, right? Now how these relief features, this is called relief features or the huge mountain ranges, correct? It can be plateaus, it can be mountain ranges, it's the type of topography we have in India. Now how these relief features affect climate of India? Now these relief features are responsible for giving something called relief type of rainfall in India. Relief type of rainfall in India is also called, or relief rainfall is also called orographic rainfall. Now let's see in brief what is this relief rainfall. Now relief rainfall occurs in the coastal region, where they are bound by the mountain ranges. For example, okay, these are your mountain ranges, and suppose if you have sea here, correct, along the coastal region. Now what happens? For example, let's take example of our Western Ghats. When monsoon, southwest monsoon proceeds from the Arabian Sea, what happens? They are blocked by this huge mountain range called Western Ghats. When winds or the moisture laden winds are blocked by these particular mountain ranges, this type of rainfall what we get is called relief rainfall. So winds move in this direction, they are moving with lot of clouds here, and because they are blocked by these mountain ranges, it precipitates more along this slope, and this slope is called windward slope. This slope of the mountain is called windward slope, towards the direction of the wind. Since wind southwest monsoon moves with lot of moisture, because there is all moisture here during the summer season, there is a lot of evaporation taking place, right? So cloud cover is huge. When monsoon winds blow, they carry this cloud cover and they precipitate more along the western slopes of the Western Ghats, giving more amount of rainfall in this particular slope. When same winds proceed downwards, okay, they descend down, there is hardly any moisture left into these clouds or into the air, right? So whatever little rain is there, it precipitates along this slope of the mountain, and this slope of the mountain is called leeward slope of the mountain. So for example, in India, when the monsoon wind strikes the Western Ghats, when they descend downwards, it's in the center of the Tibetan plateau, we get very less rainfall, or the Chennai coast receiving no rainfall from June to September at all, because this lie towards the leeward side of these particular mountain ranges. Now coming, as the monsoon wind proceed upwards from this direction, southwest direction, they move from the deserts of Rajasthan also, the same moisture laden winds. But in Rajasthan, these winds are never blocked, although there is a huge Aravalli range standing here. How this Aravalli range does not affect the monsoon winds, or why they don't block these monsoon winds? The reason is that this mountain range runs parallel along with the direction of the monsoon winds. So they don't stand tall to block. They are not against the direction of the winds. They just run parallel. So winds move over desert of Rajasthan, okay, over Aravalli range without, they don't block this relief feature or Aravallis or mountain range, do not block this monsoon winds, and that's the reason why Rajasthan, the part of Rajasthan turns into a Thar desert, or we have Great Indian Desert. Okay, there can be a question here, okay, why western slopes of the Western Ghats receive more amount of rainfall, or how Rajasthan or Thar turns into a desert region, although there is Aravallis and although there are clouds passing over this particular region, so they don't act as a barrier or stop the clouds. Okay, same thing happens towards the northeast side, right? When southwest monsoon proceeds from the Arabian Sea branch towards the northeast side, it gives enough moisture or rain into the delta region. We have the greatest delta, largest delta located here like Sundarbans, right? The place Calcutta receives more rain. As they proceed towards the eastern side, okay, they move, they get deflected towards Myanmar. But here again there is a tall Arakan hill standing here. Because of this, they again stop these monsoon winds and they deflect it back into eastern part of India. When they hit northeast states, like there are mountain ranges like here we have Kasi hills or Jaintia hills or Garo hills. They block again these monsoon winds, giving enough rainfall towards the southern part of these particular hills. Like we have the Mausenram or Cherrapunji located here, which records the highest rainfall of the world. This is the wettest place of the world, where we have rainfall more than 1250 centimeters annually. But as the same winds proceed, descend downwards towards the southern slope of these particular hills, there is hardly any rainfall because it is along the leeward side. So the place Shillong, which is lying towards the leeward side of these mountains, does not receive much rain or very little rainfall. Is it clear? This is how the relief features or the type of landforms affect the climate of India. The next factor, what I am going to discuss, is fifth one, that is the altitude. Again, very important, students. Now, what do you mean by altitude? Altitude is nothing but it is the height, okay, into the atmosphere. When we measure any height of the landform into the atmosphere from the above sea level, okay, that is called the altitude of a place. Now, we all know in India there is great variation in temperature. Even in the summer season, hill stations remain cooler. Or if you go to the high altitude region in Himalayas, they remain very cool, or there is even snowfall, correct? They remain very, very cool. The reason why? Because they are at high altitude. Now what happens when you go higher into the atmosphere? Okay, the temperature starts decreasing as you go higher. And this is something called normal lapse rate. Normal lapse rate. Now what is this normal lapse rate? It is nothing but as you go higher into the atmosphere, for every 165 meters there is drop in temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, so if you are climbing Mount Everest, if the base temperature or any altitude region or any hillocks, okay, where the height exceeds suppose more than 500 or 600 or 1000 meter, the temperature at the base of the mountain, suppose if you are climbing is 25 or 26 degrees Celsius, every 165 or 166 meter you go higher, temperature drops by 1 degree Celsius. So imagine you are climbing high peak mountains like Himalayas or height exceeding about 3000 meters, temperature will drop down below 0 degrees. And this is how the temperature decreases as you go higher into the high altitude region. And also the hill stations remain cooler. Is it clear? Here, this is very, very important. Questions can come for exams, why hill stations remain cooler, or you will be asked a place like Nainital, Shimla comparatively is very cool, or people prefer going to the hill stations in the summer, or place like Delhi. Or if you come down, place like Kochi will be having different type of temperature or climatic condition, or then that of Ooty, the hill stations, right? This is the reason how climatic changes taking place as you go higher onto the higher altitude regions. Correct? Students, the sixth factor which plays very important role, okay, affecting the climate of India is the influence of the sea. Now, how sea can influence the climate? It really affects the climate to a larger extent. Now we know, you see the shape of India, it's conical down, right? Now this southern part of India, especially Indian subcontinent, is called as peninsula. As we all know, this is because on all three sides it is bounded by major water bodies. Now, because it has strong effect of the sea surrounding, okay, during the summer season in India, when temperature starts rising, when sun shines on Tropic of Cancer, because Tropic of Cancer is passing through India, 23.5 degrees north. So we'll start receiving maximum temperature. When this temperature rises, India gets intensely heated up, and also the surrounding seas or the surrounding water bodies. Now here there is another process simultaneously happening. When water gets heated up, there is a process of evaporation happening to a faster rate here during the summer season. It leads to the heavy amount of condensation which is forming over the sea in the form of clouds, right? Now, because of this sea effect, because of the surrounding water bodies, we have even enough moisture laden winds, okay, or moisture laden clouds which are formed over the sea, which is very close to the Indian subcontinent. And when we begin with the monsoon winds, when monsoon winds come, and they come and strike western or the eastern margin or the coastal places in India, okay, they bring along with them this all the clouds which have been formed over the sea, giving ample amount of rainfall throughout Indian subcontinent. Is it clear? This is called influence of the sea. How sea influences climatic conditions in India. The sixth factor I have explained now. The next, which is again very important, is the seventh factor, which is called the distance from the sea. Distance from the sea. Now see the difference. First I said influence of the sea. How sea is influencing? By giving us enough moisture laden winds. Because of the water body, there is enough cloud cover which is formed over the sea, which when the wind blows, they bring winds bring along with them in the form of clouds. Okay. Now, what do you mean by, what is the difference between influence of the sea and the distance from the sea? This factor is also very important. The distance from the sea meaning whichever the places are along the coastal belt of India, along the western coast, right from Gujarat, we come down till Kanyakumari, right, southern tip of India, or right from Ganga plains or deltas towards the southern tip of India along the eastern coast. Now these places, because they have strong influence of they lie very close to the coastal plains, okay, the climate is moderate type. Okay, the climate here is moderate type, meaning we have equable type of climate along the coastal region or the places which have very close to the sea. This is how I am explaining distance from the sea. Now, if you compare climate along in Panjim, for example, or in Mangalore, or in Kochi, or in Mumbai, we have moderate type of climate, which is also called equable climate. Summers are not extremely hot, or days are not extremely very hot, neither the winters are extremely or nights are very extremely cold, because along the coastal region we have exchange of something called land breeze and sea breeze, right? So during daytime, when land gets heated up, temperature increases, there is low pressure over the land, and sea takes longer time. It is because of the convection currents. Okay, still during daytime sea is still cooler, so temperature is low, leading to high pressure. So obviously during daytime, breeze or wind will be moving from sea to the land, and during night time it is just reverse. Land gets heated up by the process of conduction. Conduction is what? It is a very fast process. Land absorbs the heat. By afternoon, by evening, it starts radiating out. During evening or late evening, during night, land is pretty cool. Okay, so the temperature here is higher, and sea starts radiating all the absorbed heat during the night time or late evening. So during night time, sea temperature goes high, is higher. That means it is still giving out the heat which is absorbed in the atmosphere, and temperature increases. So during night time, wind will blow from where? From land, right? Where there is high pressure over the land, because land is cool. Land to the sea. So this is called land breeze. So along the coastal region, there is exchange of the sea and land breeze, and this is why the temperature here is not extreme during the day and night. There is exchange of this land and sea breeze, and this type of climate along the coastal region is called equable, oceanic or maritime climate type of climate. Is it clear? Why? Because they are very close to the sea. Now let's see what happens to the places which have no influence or they are far from the sea, because we are talking about the factor distance from the sea. Let's take example of Delhi or in Punjab. There are no major water bodies surrounding this place. Here we have extreme type of climate, which is also called continental type of climate. Okay, the daytime land absorbs the heat and radiates back. Night time temperature drops down. Okay, very low. So it is called extreme. Even summer, annually if you are talking about range of temperature, it goes very high in these type of places. For example, even in Nagpur, or you go to Hyderabad, which are landlocked places. Totally there is no influence of the sea. So this is how distance from the sea is a major factor which decides the climate of India. Okay, so places which lie very interior, far away from the sea, have continental type of climate, and the places which are very close to the sea, they have equable or maritime type of climate. The next factor which again plays very important role is something called western disturbances. Eighth factor is the western disturbances. Now western disturbances is nothing but in the winter season there is lot of disturbance along the northwest coast part of India, northwest region of India. What happens here? During summer time when sun shines on Tropic of Cancer, okay, the northern side of India or all over the world, you know, the pressure, when sun shines on Tropic of Cancer, all the pressure belts start shifting towards the south by 5 degree, correct? What are these pressure belts? We have, Earth is divided into 7 pressure belts. We have already learned last year. This we have already done last year. And in between these pressure belts, we have planetary winds blowing, right? Like your trade winds, like your westerlies and your easterlies. Now when sun shines, okay, on Tropic of Cancer, all pressure belts shift towards north. Now what happens in the winter season in the northwest part? Why there is a lot of western disturbances, something called why there is a lot of disturbance in the climate here? During this time sun shines over Tropic of Capricorn. We have winter season in India. So obviously all the pressure belts start shifting towards south. Now as this pressure belt shift towards south, we come under the strong influence of the subtropical high pressure belt. This is this belt of India. Is it clear? And we are also coming under the influence of the westerlies, winds which blow from western side. Now there are a lot of temperate cyclones which originate from the Mediterranean Sea, okay, towards west, and these temperate cyclones start moving towards northwest side of India. Is it clear? When they move towards northwest side of India, they bring lot of heavy rainfall into the northwest region of India. Like you will get rain in Jammu and Kashmir or in the part of Punjab, okay, and this rainfall is it rains during the winter season, and that's why they are called western disturbances. Is it clear? And this rainfall is very beneficial for the crops like wheat and barley. This rainfall we get in the winter season. This is all about western disturbances. The next factor is the jet streams. What are jet streams? Jet streams is nothing but it is the upper air circulation. Now we all know atmosphere is divided into different layers, like we have the base troposphere where we live, where all the weather phenomenon takes place, right? Now in this layer of the troposphere, okay, very swiftly cold winds are blowing at about 13 to 15 kilometer height above the surface of the earth. Okay, these are the strong, fast moving winds which are encountered at this level into the atmosphere, and they are cold winds. Now, since in the winter, they also blow during the winter season when we are in the influence of the westerlies. Along with western disturbances, there are a lot of cyclones or storms which are blowing towards the northern part of India, bringing rainfall. At the same time, these jet streams start blowing from the western direction in this particular belt in the form of depressions towards the northwest part of India. Again, they bring heavy rainfall in the northwest region, like you have a lot of rainfall in Jammu and Kashmir, in Punjab. Okay, all these regions get a lot of rainfall from the jet stream. Now when jet streams blow, they cross Afghanistan, they cross Pakistan. When they enter India, they are blocked by the northern mountains. This is our northern mountain, right? Himalayas. They are blocked by these mountains and they get divided into two parts called jet westerlies and jet easterlies. Okay, jet westerlies bring rainfall in this region and jet Easterlies, they blow towards eastern side from even Bangladesh side, and the eastern part of some part of India, eastern regions also get rainfall along this depression belt. Okay, this is how we get winter rainfall in the north, especially in the northwest region of India, from western disturbances and from jet streams. Okay, the last factor which affects the climate of India is El Nino effect. El Nino effect is nothing but it is the warm ocean current which originates along the eastern part, southeast margin of South America. Okay, now because of this warm ocean current, it starts blowing towards the Indian subcontinent. It reaches, now you know what are warm currents. Warm currents increase the surface temperature of the water or the atmosphere or air above the sea, correct? Now these warm currents, when they blow into cross Atlantic Ocean, they come into Indian Ocean. Sometimes they come towards the western margin of India, okay, increasing the temperature here. Okay, and it happens in the month of December again, sometimes in the during the winter season, and they bring some dry temperature or dry winds and making a drought like condition into Indian subcontinent. This is El Nino effect. Students, we have done today all the 10 factors affecting climate of India, right from Himalayas and right from El Nino effect. You need to study all in detail.